There are two notable blocks in Haikyuu's 3 animated seasons, and I'll be spoiling the entirety of the first 2 seasons, so get out while you still can. There's Tsukishima's block in season 3, which is probably one of the singular biggest character moments in the series, and honestly one of the most hype reactions the show has ever produced from me. But that's not the block we're talking about today. The moment I want to talk about is the one that transformed a series from being good to great, a moment that forced a hard look at where the narrative was going and shook things up in a way that promoted character growth and deeper stakes. I am of course referring to the soul-shattering block at the end of the first season, which I would say is the single most important moment in Haikyuu, with 0 exceptions. Season 1 of Haikyuu is focused around Hinata, a volleyball player with outstanding physical ability but very little game sense and almost no skills outside of spiking the ball. His insane speed and jumping ability is harnessed by Kageyama, a player who is Hinata's opposite in that his game sense is genius level, with skills far beyond his years in almost every aspect of the game. The two form their godlike freak quick by the 4th episode and have honed it by the end of the 5th. And it's clear that the value Hinata adds to the team is singularly the freak quick. Because of how the quick works, it draws the attention of the opponents to him, which makes him not only an attacking threat, but also a decoy for the other spikers on the team. It's super apparent though that without Kageyama, Hinata would be riding the bench. He's a mediocre receiver, a subpar server, and his spikes aren't powerful. While he does develop a keen awareness of where he should be standing at all times over the course of the season, the beginning of true game sense, Hinata on paper, minus the quick, is a liability for Karasuno. The team as a whole is willing to accept this though, because Kageyama's genius level ability makes Hinata's upsides culminate in actual tangible results. And while the free quick is utilized to great success in the internal 3v3, against Seijo, during a practice match, and against the alumni, it isn't invincible, which the match against Nekoma points out at the exact midpoint of the season. But you could be forgiven for forgetting about it, because immediately after that, Karasuno looks great, winning matches in stellar fashion against Tokonami, and utilizing Hinata's quick to the fullest to pick up the win against Date Tech. Then the team faces off against Seijo, who has Oikawa this time around, and the battle is close. Sets are tied going into the final set, where the score gets into the 30s. Karasuno is put in a tough spot, which means that Kageyama goes to his most clutch tool, and then the freak quick at the moment they needed it most fails. The reason why this moment is so powerful is because of the aftermath. This failure forces the team to reconsider everything, especially Hinata, who suddenly is forced to come to grips with the fact that if not for his combination with Kageyama, he would be woefully unprepared to face teams like Seijo in the future, and that even with the quick, isn't able to beat them. The team as a whole is forced to realize that they were happily relying on the freak quick to be their all-guiding principle of their team's offensive capability. But that won't be enough to match top teams in their region, or even their newfound rivals in Nekoma. Season 2, for that reason, is about growth. From Hinata learning how to spike on his own without Kageyama giving him perfect tosses, to Kageyama struggling and learning to modify the freak quick so that Hinata has more options in the air. Asahi responds to this by learning how to jump serve, and by becoming more reliable and more active in his role as the ace. Nishinoya learns to toss as a libero. The team picks up synchro attacks, general upgrades in skills like dive receives and blocking. Tsukishima learns a one-man time difference attack. Yamaguchi improves his jump floater serve. And while in the first season their matches in the qualifier all went smoothly, in season 2 they're forced to put in backups like Suga and Narita when Kageyama gets a nosebleed. Chikara is forced to step up when Daichi is injured. It shows that the entire team has grown in capacity, not just the starting 7. Hinata's game sense has grown to the point where he would deserve to stand on the court, freak quick or not, as his receives, serves, and blocks have all improved, and his ability to make plays on his own finally manifests. When Karasuno fails, they look at what works, what doesn't, and make proper changes. As the quote goes, "Failure is the greatest teacher." And the moment that proves definitively that Karasuno has changed is the final point in the rematch against Seijo. Over the course of the match, all of Karasuno's new skills have been put to the test, including Yamaguchi's jump floater getting an insane 5 points. They even bust out a new tactic in a strategic substitution for 2 setters that allows Suga to set and Kageyama to spike. But it of course comes down to a deuce in the final set, with Karasuno at match point, and the parallels between the 2 final points are uncanny, because it obviously was done intentionally. Except now, Kageyama has the falling toss, And Hinata isn't just a vehicle to express Kageyama's skill, he's now the leader of the Freak Quick. And it is all the more satisfying when that ball drops and Karasuno advances to the finals, defeating Oikawa and Seijo. Season 1 of Haikyuu is a good watch. Production IG's animation is great, the soundtrack is phenomenal, Adults is one of my favorite pieces of music bar none, and the characters and their voice acting are great matches and well written. But Season 2 of Haikyuu is a great watch, because the narrative quake at the end of the first season opens up the door for individual character growth across the entire team, greater agency on the part of the main character, Hinata, and a sense of accomplishment that simply would not exist without that critical failure. When I rewatch episodes of Haikyuu, it is almost always from the second season, because there is a show prior to the block and a show after the block, and the block destroys an unsuccessful status quo that the team must learn to replace and improve on, and that is a far better story. This is a short video because originally we were supposed to have our next attention span episode out today, but there was a little bit of delay, so this will have to make do. Click to the left if you're interested in a Darling in the Franxx analysis, and to the right if Kekkai Sensen is more your speed. Subscribe down below and leave a comment for what you'd like us to tackle next. Check back on Thursday for a new attention span, and as always, thanks for watching.